vibration until the solid rocket boosters are sent.
Ask Kate how much longer before that happens, John.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's about a minute, Don. About little over 2 minutes in, we'll have separation of those solid rocket boosters. And then the next milestone, of course, is main engine cutoff about 8 minutes in. And you're traveling at 17,300 miles an hour.
That's right. And at main engine cutoff, all of a sudden it just gets very quiet and everything starts to float.
Just everything's floating.
Just instantaneously, right at main engine cutoff.
And at that point, you're about to enter orbit, right?
You are in space, definitely.
So we're coming up here, Don, on the burnout of the solid rocket boosters. And we'll probably get a good shot of that on those pictures there. I'm sure we'll see it very clearly. That's that camera mounted right, Kay, on the side of the
yes, right on the orbiter itself. And
it's always amazing to see that camera, and when you consider the amount of heat and just how fast this is going and what that camera is up against, to see that a camera is that close to the spacecraft.
Boosters are off. Boosters, yep. And the boosters, Don, have separated there. You can see that's a spectacular shot of that booster separation there. And, of course, they will fall back into the ocean, and they're recovered, and then they're reused, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's quite a interesting process.
And you know, Don, everybody says, and Kay wanted to point this out, the astronauts get all the credit, but this is a big team, right, that takes to put this show on.
Oh, all the way across the country, and in the case of the International Space Station, around the world with our international partners. The astronauts are just the fortunate folks that actually get to fly in space, but it takes a very large team to put us there.
Yeah, it's quite fortunate you get to do that.
Yes, it is.
So now the next milestone, I heard 2-engine TAL, Don, which of course means that they can get to the transatlantic abort site if they needed to. But right now it looks like everything is fine.
Yes, as a matter of fact, for the folks right here at the Kennedy Space Center and along the East Coast, we can actually still see the solid rocket boosters behind us as they're separating and falling towards the Atlantic Ocean.
John, I want to bring...
We can see the 3 main engines of the Space Shuttle Discovery as it's headed towards orbit.
Go ahead, Don.
John and Kay, I want to bring Jackie Jarris in here to talk about that because we saw just how quickly how it got dark really quickly there, Jackie, and I guess it's pretty good weather. We can leave John and Kay up as well, but I want to bring Jackie in to talk about the weather and the conditions. Jackie?
It couldn't have been better, Don. The winds were relatively light. We had some gusts around 20 miles per hour, but well below the criteria in order for this thing to take off. We had some cloud cover earlier in the day, some patchy cumulus clouds, but they cleared out just in time. And in fact, I haven't really seen weather better than this, other than for people who are trying to watch this elsewhere on the East Coast. We've got a lot of cloudiness across the southeast and mid-Atlantic.
And John, you can see it for miles and miles. I mean, where you guys are, the skies just lit up, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching you in the monitor. It looked like it was daylight there, and then as soon as it got to a distance, back to darkness.
Yeah, night to day, instantaneously, and you hear that, that rumble as, we get just that shock wave that rolls across from the launch pad out here. And, usually you hear everybody's car alarms going off in the parking lot here. And, now what? We're looking at another less than 4 minutes, 3 minutes or so, right, Kay, till we have main engine cutoff, and that's when everything starts floating and you're in space.
Yeah.
That instantaneously. It's right about 8.5 minutes.
What we're seeing, though, John, is we're replaying the launcher because it was such a beautiful launch. But you said just about 3 or 4 minutes before main engine cutoff is what we're waiting on, the next milestone.
Right.
And in each one, the mission becomes safer and safer and safer, and they start to relax and breathe easier.
And Don, what's funny is that this launch was actually, even though it was just at 7:43, NASA considers it a night launch because it was more than 3 minutes after sundown. So while we still had some light here, it was considered a night launch.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I imagine, Kate, you can ask Kate at this point if you're aboard that shuttle. At each milestone, you go, okay, we reached that. Now we got to get to the next one.
Yeah, now we have the helicopter coming in, of course. So you may not be able to hear us here. But, yeah, you're breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief. You're close.
Right. Get a little bit more of the G-force right into your chest. It really goes about 3.5 G. It's not that much, but it's enough to make you feel it. But right at main engine cutoff, that disappears.
And then if you're
I think the excitement will come once all of a sudden that G-force is off of their chest and they're floating in space.
And again, Don, you know, the